Well, Sabbath greetings to everyone. Here it's been a week already, and we're already at another Sabbath. The weeks are just flying by. We're just about 30 days or so away from the Feast of Tabernacles. That is so exciting, and I'm still trying to put all the finishing touches on the feast planning for the Dells, but we're getting there, making some progress, and so it won't be long, and the feast will be planned for, and then it's just focusing on the execution of that plan once we get there. And I look forward to it very, very much, and very, very grateful for all the help of those that have volunteered to help in so many different ways. And some of you are helping even now to prepare for certain things that are coming up at the feast, the dinner dance, and procuring some items for the feast and that sort of thing. And I've got help from all over the place. Sincerely, thank you all for your help up to this point. I really appreciate it. Thankful for everyone who volunteered to serve at the feast in the Dells. That's always a highlight when we're able to serve and able to help in that way. So we're looking forward to the feast. Also got a couple steps in the plan before the feast. We've got trumpets and atonement. So exciting as we get closer and closer to the fall holy days. We start to think about purpose, and that's what's been on my mind and what I want to talk about a little bit in the video. Hopefully it won't be too long tonight, but I want to talk about purpose. It's so wonderful to have a purpose and to know what that ultimate purpose is. There's a very, very popular book out there by Rick Warren. I'm sure most of you have heard of his book called The Purpose-Driven Life. I think Mr. Warren did a wonderful job. If you just look up, for instance, quotes from The Purpose-Driven Life or things like that, you can find a long list of just some of the nuggets of wisdom and information that he includes in that work. And I tell you, there's some really good stuff in there, good points, and he makes some very good observations in talking about the purpose of life. Why are we here? Why are we on this earth? And so what a blessing it is to understand the purpose for our lives. And I hope we can think about that, meditate and ponder that today on the Sabbath. Why are we here? What's the purpose? Are we just kind of living and eventually we die, and what comes then? And I mean, there's so many things that we can ponder as living, breathing beings, made, of course, in the image of the great God for a wonderful purpose. God does everything for a purpose. There's nothing that He does frivolously. He is a purpose-driven God, and He's the Creator God, the Sustainer God, the one who is working towards a tremendous purpose for every single person that's ever lived and died. That's the God we serve, a purpose-driven God. And He has a purpose for each and every one of us. And we begin to understand that purpose and see that purpose unfolding, beginning in the spring of the year as we begin to cover the spring holy days, the Passover, the days of unleavened bread, Pentecost, when we have the fall holy days coming up, and then we start to uncover and unfold the very plan that God has for everyone who's ever lived and died. Most of this world has not had their opportunity yet. Were they living with a different purpose? No. They had the very same purpose, and that purpose will be fulfilled in its time, in God's time. And so what a wonderful truth that is. One of the most encouraging and wonderful scriptures in all the Bible is Romans 8:28. And we all know what Romans 8:28 says. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose. His purpose. God has a purpose for us. He hasn't done all this in vain. And we see all these new pictures that are coming from space, and we see all these new figures that come out that there are literally billions of galaxies, and it's just mind-boggling. Has He done that for a purpose, or has He done that in vain? We know the answer to that. He is He is a God of purpose, and He's not one to do things in vain. You know, Jesus Christ, when He came, He knew that He had a purpose. There were several reasons for Him to come to this earth. But He knew, you can see that in John 12 and verse 27. He knew one of the very reasons for Him being here, the very purpose that He was here. Part of that very purpose was to die, was to suffer and to die for the sins of all mankind. And He fulfilled that purpose. He was here to do the will of His Father in heaven. And He knew that purpose, and He had tremendous drive towards that goal, the purpose for which He was born in the flesh. And now He knows that His very purpose is to rule the earth and to rule with the saints. And we're very grateful that part of that purpose is for us to rule with Him. That's part of the very purpose for which we've been born. We are the called according to His purpose. You know, God has called us now as pioneers, as sojourners of a way of life that is going to take over the whole world very soon. And we'll be reviewing that very soon as we go through trumpets and atonement and the Feast of Tabernacles and see that wonderful plan unfolding, and certainly in the last great day as God reveals what He has in mind for all those who have ever lived in the great white throne judgment. And so what a tremendous opportunity to be pioneers of a purpose and to fulfill a purpose now in this life that is going to last forever, an eternal purpose. In 1 Peter 4 and verse 1 it says, "Therefore, since Christ suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves also with the same mind. For he who has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin." You know, how's that sound for purpose? You know, arm yourselves with that same mind, that same purpose to overcome sin in the flesh. Jesus Christ did that. He overcame the pulls and the temptations. And we too have that same purpose to try and overcome the flesh and learn to cease from sin. Verse 2, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh for the lusts of men, but for the will of God. Jesus Christ was here to do the will of the Father. And we too are here now to live according to the will of God, not for the flesh, the lusts of men, the temptations of this life, but we're to live for the will of God. And finally in verse 3 of 1 Peter 4, "For we have spent enough of our past lifetime in doing the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lewdness, lust, drunkenness, revelries, drinking parties, and abominable idolatries." See, all of those things are listed as things that were in our past lifetime, things that now we didn't understand our purpose. We didn't know that at that time what our transcendent purpose was. And so we what Peter's saying here, you've spent enough of your past life, enough of this life in doing those types of things. That's purposeless. That's a purposeless existence when it's just to fulfill the lusts of the flesh, to spend time in drinking parties and revelries and all those things that we think are so much fun. What Peter's saying is those are not according to God's will, and they're not fulfilling the very purpose of God for our lives. So we want to walk in newness of life and certainly walk that purpose-driven life. You know, Rick Warren, unfortunately, at this point we know that he has limited understanding. He has a lot of wisdom, and we can learn a lot from his book, The Purpose-Driven Life. And there's a lot of quotable quotes from him. One quote that I thought was very, very interesting that's from the book is he says, quote, "You weren't put on earth to be remembered. You were put here to prepare for eternity." Of course, his idea of what eternity involves and what it entails is very different than ours. But it is true. We weren't put here just to be remembered. We are here to prepare for eternity. We are here to prepare to be kings and priests in the very kingdom and family of God. What a tremendous purpose. You have a purpose. You have a tremendous transcendent purpose. When you get down and you get discouraged, remember that. Remember, I'm not here to be remembered. I'm here to prepare for eternity. I'm not here to get bogged down in this life's affairs and all these things that happen all the time. They happen to us, and we face trials and tests, but the point of all of it is we're being prepared for eternity. Those things are happening to fulfill the ultimate purpose in our lives, each one of us individually. So don't let anyone discourage you from that tremendous transcendent purpose that you have. You know, you're the called of God, and all things work together for good to those who love God and those who are the called according to His purpose. And what a wonderful, tremendous purpose that is. Mr. Warren probably doesn't have that full concept of what's going to be taking place. Most people believe that, you know, it's heaven or hell, and we understand that's not the truth at all. So I hope that this Sabbath you'll spend some time thinking about that wonderful purpose and being prepared to review that purpose as we look forward to the fall holy days coming up very soon, and really just getting everything prepared for a wonderful Feast of Tabernacles. We need this, brethren. I need it. We all need it. To remember, to reinforce the purpose of our very lives, that we have been called so that we can reign with Jesus Christ as kings and priests in the family and the government of God that's coming to this earth, a literal kingdom to be established on this earth. And whenever you get discouraged, you get down, I hope you think about that purpose, the ultimate purpose for your very life. And then you can turn to Revelation 1 and verse 6. And you can turn to Revelation 5 and verse 10. And you can reestablish that purpose in your mind. Oh yeah, I am going to be a king and a priest. I am going to be ruling with Jesus Christ. I'm being prepared for that. What an awesome purpose you and I have been given, brethren. And the whole world. It's just a matter of timing. But right now it's our time, and we're here to prepare. So let's be focused on that this Sabbath. Let's be focused on that as we look forward to the upcoming holy days. I did have to make a change to my plans, so this particular Sabbath I'll be looking forward to seeing the brethren in Appleton. And I really always look forward to all of my Sabbath journeys around the area. I really do look forward to seeing you in Appleton, all the brethren there. And around the rest of the area, I hope you have a wonderful and fantastic Sabbath wherever you are. I love you very much, and I hope things are going well for you, and I hope you have a wonderful, purposeful Sabbath, and really take advantage of the purpose of the Sabbath, to be refreshed, to be rejuvenated, and to really reflect on the very purpose for your life. I love you. Take care. Have a wonderful Sabbath.